of the Dead Drop Podcast. I am your host, Jon F. Merz, as always. I don't know why I look so red. Oh, see, now it just changed a little bit. That's a little bit better. I have no idea what's going on with the lighting in my office studio today. But, well, that looks a little bit better than it did a moment ago. Yeah. That was super red. Anyway, a lot to get to today. So let's get started on the acting front. Last week, when I spoke to you last, I mentioned that there was a brand new movie that's going to be shooting around the Boston area called Don't Look Up, and it's a Netflix movie. It's got a star-studded cast of Jennifer Lawrence, Leonardo DiCaprio. And I'm blanking on everybody else, honestly, right now. But, it's like one of these amazing ensemble casts that you hear about being in movies, and it looks like it's going to be really cool. The storyline on it is two low-level astronomers discover a massive asteroid, I believe, that's hurtling towards the Earth, and they have to try to warn the public about it. So I don't know if it is or not. It kind of has a feel of like a dark comedy sort of thing. It could just be a drama. I don't really know. But it seems like it could be something that was darkly comedic in a lot of respects, especially since some of the cast have that sort of a background. So I'm going to be interested to see what that's all about. But I had mentioned that there would probably be a possibility that I would be asked to audition for a role in this movie. And since I film this, the Dead Drop podcast every week, I film it on Wednesday evening, and then I release it on Thursday. There's some time, obviously, between when I posited that possibility and when I speak to you next. And sure enough, on Saturday, I got an email from the local casting folks who are in charge of casting smaller roles in the local area. Generally, that's what happens if you have a SAG production, a SAG after production, a union job, which all of these big feature films are. Part of the agreement that the production companies have with SAG-AFTRA is that they will sort of almost reserve a number of roles for actors that live in the immediate area of where the film is shooting. So, for example, if you have a production that comes into Boston, there are, by rules of the union contract, the production has to cast actors that are local to the area in those roles. So, sure enough, I got an email inviting me to audition for it. And the interesting thing is that more or less the role that I was asked to audition for is very similar to the role that I actually booked in the science fiction thriller Mother Android. That's going to be shooting my part anyway on November 6th. So I don't want to say I'm pigeonholed just yet into certain roles, but it's funny that I was basically asked to audition for the same type of role. So who knows? Maybe I'll get it. That would be pretty cool. Whereas my part in the Mother Android script takes place on page 3 of the screenplay, which is obviously very early in the movie. This audition, according to the sides that I got, and sides are just a part of the screenplay, but you can tell where it is because they're numbered. The part takes place on page 90, so it's at the opposite extreme of the movie. So yeah, so we'll see where that goes. I shot the audition for that on Sunday night. Felt really good about it. Had my wife help me with it, and she's always amazing. And sent it off. So now the waiting begins. We'll see if I'm able to book a second movie before the end of 2020. The cool thing about this production, Don't Look Up, is that part of the, well, I don't know if it's cool or not. It's just an extra thing because of the pandemic that's going on right now. If you do book a role on this movie, you have to quarantine at a hotel for 8 days prior to when you're going to shoot. So that would be really interesting because I've already, I'm already in my head, I'm already thinking, wow, how could I be super productive over those 8 days if I'm all by myself in a hotel room? And I have plenty of pretty interesting ideas about what I'd like to try to get accomplished during that time. But first, I got to book the role, so we have to see what we will see. Um, it'll probably take a couple of weeks, I would expect. The movie actually starts shooting, I believe it was November 16th, and goes all the way through, at least the way they've got it sketched out right now, it goes all the way through into early February. So um, clearly they are allotting much more time in the production schedule for COVID-19 precautions and quarantine periods for the actors and so forth and so on. So it'll be really interesting to see whereabouts, all this lines up, whether the schedule ends up being less or more or what. But that's they are slated to be all around here for a good couple of months. In the old days, pre-pandemic, that might have meant that there was a good chance you'd be able to walk around town and spot celebrities and, maybe grab a picture with them or an autograph or this, that, and the other thing. I do not think that that is going to be the case going forward. I would expect very easily that most of the actors will be quarantining, or if they do go out, it'll be at really weird times. One of the stars of Mother Android is working out very early in the morning and posting about it on Instagram. So, unless you're up at the crack of dawn, because then he's got to get to set, obviously, you're probably not going to see him. And I just don't foresee too many of the stars of, especially an ensemble cast like this, just sort of walking around town. Plus, face masks make it hard to identify people. I don't care who you are. It's weird. I was on a shoot a couple of weeks ago and somebody was wearing a mask and it was hard to identify who they were. So, but yeah, so we'll see. Probably a week or two. I should have a good idea as to whether or not I booked the role. However, it could be much sooner than that. By the time I speak to you again next week, I could have it booked. I don't know. Or I may not. That's a possibility as well. But it's always cool to be asked. So I was pretty excited about that. Also, this week I did I can't really call it an audition. A lot of times what will happen is my agency will contact me and say, hey, we've got this thing that we're working on. We need photos from you to submit. And, we need like a headshot, a close-up, and a full body shot. So can you send those over to us? So I did that for a couple of projects this week. We'll see, if they come back. And then I actually followed up with casting about the script and contract for Mother Android, which I haven't seen yet. Apparently, I will probably be signing the contract on set. I already know the terms of the contract, the pay rate, and all that good stuff. So, while it would have been nice, I'm definitely going to take a screen picture of it so that I can kind of print it out and hang it up on my wall, because that's definitely something that I enjoy. If you know about my writing career, you know that the first story that I ever published was for Rictus magazine all the way back in 1996, and they paid me $5 for it, and I never cashed a check. It's still hanging up on my office in here, and it's a good waypoint. It's a good reminder of where I come from, and the struggles along the way and the achievements that you make. So this getting a contract for a feature film would definitely be another one of those that would be really cool to have hanging on the wall. So we'll see. I have the sides for the character, so I don't necessarily need an entire script, although I would really love to read it, just because I think Mattson Tomlin is a great writer. So definitely groove on that. But who knows? Maybe when I get on set, they'll actually be like, "Oh, here's a copy of the script. You can just take that with you," which would be really cool. But yeah, so that's about it for acting for this week. I wouldn't say it's been slow, but it hasn't been, super chaotic. There were a couple of weeks back. It was pretty crazy. There was a bunch of stuff going on. But again, the big thing is the audition for Don't Look Up, and we'll see where that goes. And we're gonna take a break. We'll be right back. All right, so writing. What's up first on the writing front? Well, first of all, if you have not yet checked out Night Frights over on youtube.com/POUNDCAKE Media, please be sure to go and look at it. Part 4 dropped last night. The finale of the very first story, The Longest Walk, happens next week on the 27th. So we are wrapping up the first story already. It's amazing. 5 episodes for that story. Then I am doing a special one-off on Halloween night, and that's just going to be one go. It's going to be me reading it all in one episode specifically for Halloween, which we'll be filming next week and getting that ready for release on Halloween. So yeah, I mean, it's the finale's next week. I'm excited about it. We'll do the Halloween one, and then we will kick off a brand new story, The Witch of Vine Brook, which will be happening, I believe, the first week of November. Although that release schedule may actually change, because between the election and my working on the Mother Android film, I may need to push that just a little bit. I'll let you know. But one way or another, we're going to get at least the first story done next week, and then we'll get the standalone Halloween story done on Halloween night itself. So that's kind of cool. To that end, I actually finished the Halloween story Hunter's Moon today, which I'm very happy about. It's a weird story. It's a strange one. Wasn't sure where I was going with it at first. I knew the vibe that I was going for, the atmosphere that I wanted for the story, and then, of course, as sometimes happens, and I'm sure anybody who is listening to this or watching this and is a writer, you can nod your head and agree. Sometimes the story takes off on its own, and you just kind of hang on and hope for the best. But I am pleased with how it turned out, and I finished it maybe an hour ago, as a matter of fact. So on my to-do list for the week, it says finish Hunter's Moon, so I was able to write done next to that. I'm very happy about that. The Lawson story that is also going to be released on Halloween. Isn't this cool? Like, I love Halloween, so I wanted to have a bunch of stuff to release and to put out on Halloween, especially since Halloween 2020 is, who knows? I don't know what your Halloween is looking like. I'm still waiting to see what my town's going to do about it, but I couldn't bear the thought of just sort of not having anything to release on Halloween. That just bums me out. It's like, it's such a fun holiday. And if, we all have to sort of stay low and can't celebrate the way we normally do, then at least maybe I can put some stuff out there and make things a little bit better. So anyway, the Lawson story that I've been working on is still in progress, and time is running short, so I have to haul ass on that one. That's going to be a sprint to the finish over the next couple of days, but it is now titled. It has a title at long last, and it is called The Estranged, and it will be out on Halloween. So between writing it and working on the cover, I'm looking forward to getting that out to you guys. So probably it'll be, I'm thinking, around 10,000 words, but we'll see. Sometimes it tends to go a little bit further. Sometimes it's a little bit less, but one way or another, it's definitely going to be out in time for Halloween. So be sure to look out for that. Additionally, I've started sketching out the the next sort of series of short stories that I'll be doing for Night Frights. I still have to finish the last story in the current sort of season of Night Frights, which is called Stringer, and I've talked about that in past episodes. But that's coming along nicely as well. I've obviously kind of diverted my attention away from Stringer to Hunter's Moon and The Estranged, just simply because they both have to be out for next week on Halloween. So that is the priority right now. But I will be returning to Stringer very shortly, along with a bunch of other writing projects. Chiefly among those, I have to get edits done on the 4 novels that I wrote over the springtime so I can get those out. But it's looking like it's going to be sort of a fast and furious release schedule as I get these all finished and completed and put covers on them, get them into the production pipeline, so to speak, for Amazon for ebook and print. So look for news on that in the coming weeks as well. Beyond that, still have to get Zombie Rue number 3 going. The next Ninja Apprentice book has to be done. The next Blood Armageddon book definitely has to be done. And then there will be another Deathmaster book coming out, and another Lawson novel as well. I have a Lawson novel that I started sort of pre-pandemic that's about halfway completed. And now I I have to go back in there and figure out, am I going to rework that book and sort of work in the pandemic, or am I going to sort of save it for a post-pandemic world? And it's one of these things where I have to take a look at what I wrote and figure out if it still works in the world that we're living in now, crazy as it is. It's not always easy to do, and I may actually want to hold it. I'm not sure yet. I have to reread everything that I wrote and see, whereabouts things are falling and things are happening and this, that, and the other thing. It's obviously, as you all know, it's a crazy time, and I've written some Lawson stuff that actually takes place during the pandemic. The new one, The Estranged, which will be out next week, is also happening during the pandemic. But it's a different beast when I sit down to write something and know I have to set it in the pandemic. It sort of colors how I write and what I'm writing. But it's a far different thing when I started writing something before the pandemic even happened, and it changes things. And I can't really go into more detail about that just because of the nature of the storyline itself. If I hold on to it and we get through this craziness and return to some semblance of normalcy, then the book will work a lot better given what Lawson is going through in what I've written so far. And I realize that's like this weird circumnavigating around the main storyline, but you'll understand better when you actually read it. So let's just make it simpler and say the things that Lawson has to do in this novel would not be as easy or effective in a COVID-19 world as they would be in a non-pandemic world. So I'll just leave it at that and say, hopefully we get back to some sense of normalcy where we're not all wearing masks all the time and we have a vaccine and all that good stuff. And we'll probably revisit this in future episodes and just talk about a little bit more in depth the craziness that writers have to, the hurdles that we have to jump over to sort of convey our fictitious adventures in the current pandemic world. So obviously it offers a bunch of new challenges, but we'll get through them just like we'll get through this. So that's the writing update. So yes, go on out. Night Frights number 4 just came out last night. So we're a little down on views, so I could use everybody's help in going out there and firing up all the reviews. There's a Night Frights playlist when you go out to youtube.com/POUNDCAKE media. Just scroll down and you'll see the Night Frights playlist, and just play them all through, and then leave us a like, leave us a comment, and we'll go from there. So that is it on the writing front. Let's move on. Keeping on the Night Frights topic, one of the things that is going to be available when we finish each consecutive story is that you guys are going to be able to purchase it. So the actual video will be edited down into just one video, and the way it's looking right now, let's see, it was 7.5 minutes the first 2 episodes, so that's 15 minutes. The second 2 episodes are about 6.5 minutes a piece. So is that 27, 28 minutes so far? And then the last piece will probably be somewhere around there. So you'll be getting a video that's probably somewhere around a half an hour, more or less. We're going to have that for sale. You're going to be able to pick that up. So sales, the proceeds from the sales are going to fund other Pound Cake productions. So when you guys purchase the Night Frights episodes, you'll be directly helping us fund other productions that we have in the pipeline, which is kind of cool. Each story will be sort of self-contained. So The Longest Walk, even though it's 5 parts on YouTube, we're just gonna edit that down into one episode, which you will be able to purchase and download from my website, and help us out. We're also going to do it as an audio book. So I'll just basically strip the audio out of the video. That'll be for sale as well. And then we'll do it in an ebook form. Possibly we'll do it in print. I'm not sure if the word count on The Longest Walk or any of these other stories, because they're all more or less about 4,000 words. I don't know if that qualifies for the minimum page count that you need to do print on Amazon. It's going to have to be something that I look into, but it may, and if so, we'll do that. So you'll have you'll be able to buy the video, the audio, the ebook, and the print book, and that's the plan moving forward on all the Night Frights stuff. So I'm excited about that, because I would love to be able to fund other Pound Cake projects if enough folks are into the actual video and downloading it and sort of saving it on your computer. And it's one of those fun things where you can go, hey, I knew him when sort of things. But so that'll be coming, and that will probably be having those for sale every time a story ends. So this coming week, The Longest Walk is going to be ending, so as soon as it does, there'll be a link right below the video on YouTube, and it'll say you can buy this digital download here, and it'll send you right out to where you need to go to buy that. And it's not going to be expensive. I'm not charging $20 for a video or anything like that. It'll be, all around the same price point. But every little bit helps, and if you guys have enjoyed it, please be sure to pick it up and know that you are helping fund Pound Cake as we move into some pretty cool stuff coming down the pike, honestly. Let's see, what else do we have in terms of production? So Halloween, Pound Cake is going to have its own sort of Halloween playlist, and you'll be able to go out and check that out. As I said back in the writing segment, this is something that Chris and I wanted to do. We wanted to have stuff that you guys could watch all throughout the day on Halloween, which is kind of fun. So there's stuff out there already that we've released, some Cocktails and Screams episodes. Those are going to be on the playlist, but then there's going to be a couple of things that we haven't released yet. One of them being the special Night Frights episode that I'm doing for you guys this coming week that we'll release on Halloween. And 1 or 2 other surprises as well that you maybe haven't seen yet. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. We'll see. But we're gonna be working on that. Also, if you don't follow us, if you didn't know, we're on Spotify. So if you're out there and you've got a Spotify account, check out POUNDCAKE. I should probably put the link in the description of this. I should start putting links in all the YouTube descriptions, basically. But we have a bunch of playlists that we're going to be releasing. The next one that we're doing is POUNDCAKE Noir, sort of a doom jazz, eerie electronica type thing that kind of sets a darker mood. We've already got POUNDCAKE Vibes out there, and we've got another one. Why am I blanking on the other one? We've got 2 public playlists right now, but we'll be coming out with more. So please be sure to head over to Spotify and check those out. We always appreciate the follows out there. And finally, the short 15-minute horror film that I want to get made, which is not getting made until well after Halloween now, unfortunately. I know, I'm bummed too, but the timing on things is just a little bit insane right now. So it didn't make sense trying to force it. We can take our time with it and make sure that we do it right. I am currently rewriting that script, trying to trim just a little bit of time out of it. I don't think it needs to be trimmed that much. I wrote it so that there wasn't a lot of fluff. So yeah, it's a small cast of 4. And then we'll have a small crew with us as well. So I'm looking forward to getting into production on that. And I think, excuse me, I think we will be looking at a release. It really depends on when we get into production on it, but it could be before the new year, but it will more likely be midwinter. That's what I'm thinking right now. Obviously, I think the sooner we get it done, or the sooner we get a shot, the better, just simply because as soon as you start talking about doing productions in the middle of winter, you have to start, figuring out all these sorts of variables. Are we going to have a blizzard? Are we going to have a snowstorm? Are people going to be able to drive? Where are we going to put them? This, that, and the other thing. It becomes a lot more problematic, which is one reason why so many, of the productions actually film when the weather is nicer, just because it's a hell of a lot easier to account for all of those things than it would be otherwise. So that's why you have Christmas movies being made in July with fake snow everywhere, and they do a good job. Sometimes it's hard to tell that everything's fake. One of the ways you can tell though is that they don't, when they breathe, they don't have that steam coming out of their mouths. So look out for that. But anyway, I will let you guys know when we are heading into production on the horror script. And yeah, that's about it. That's going to do it for this week. What's coming up? Oh, my birthday is this Saturday, the 24th. I turned 51 years old. I don't feel a day over 14 sometimes. I'd be lying if I said that there have been a few more aches and pains, especially in the days after I have a grueling workout. But I still feel great. Today is actually my late father's birthday. He would have been 76 today. He passed when he was only 48, which is incredible to me. It's basically, it's coming up on 30 years that he's been gone, and it's crazy. I miss him every single day. There's so many things, I wish he could have been here to see, most especially his 2 grandsons. I think he would have had a blast hanging out with them and just tearing it up a little bit. But I would like to say happy birthday to my dad, and happy birthday to me on Saturday. And don't forget to reach out and say hello, say happy birthday, grab one of my books. If you guys want to do something for my birthday, grab one of my books and send it as a gift to somebody that that you care about. Whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend. Pick one of my books that you really, really enjoy and just gift it to them and say, hey, I love this book. Hopefully you will too. It's kind of a cool escape from the day-to-day, and I hope it does the same for you. I think that would be really cool. I'd be really stoked about that, actually, if I knew that my readers and fans were actually sending my stuff to other people and introducing them and hopefully making their day a little bit better. I think that'd be all right. So As for my plans, I am still trying to figure out what exactly I want to do on Saturday. This weather is not helping though. I got to be honest with you, it's kind of pissing me off. Where, third week of October, I want cool weather. I don't want 70 plus degrees, which is what it's been the last couple of days. It's pissing me off, quite frankly. I like to put a fire on in the evening and sit down there and have my unplug hour and not, feel like I need to turn the air conditioning back on. And my youngest son actually turned the air conditioning on last night because it got really humid in the middle of the night. So I don't know what's going on with the weather, but enough of that. Supposedly next week is going to be nice and cool again, but right now on my birthday it looks like it's going to be in the mid 70s and sunny, which is just going to weird me out. It shouldn't be like that. It should be sunny. Sunny's fine. I don't have a problem with the sunny, but it should be crisp and cool. It should be October weather, getting ready for Halloween weather, that kind of thing. Spooky, sun setting earlier now, that sort of thing. Anyway, I digress. As always, thank you all for tuning in, for watching, for listening. YouTube.com/PoundCake Media. Go check out Night Frights. Leave us a like, leave us a comment. Let me know if we're doing it right or if we can do it better. And I will see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.